sure I haven't been introduced to the channel yet, so I guess I'm doing this now because things have happened that probably make it pretty good time to do so. My name's Ismail. I'm the driver of the red 2006 GTO that's been on the channel a few times. I got this car back in 2010. A few things I've done to it is just JBA shorty headers, full exhaust, the X-pipe, and aftermarket, just a Diablo tune with like email tuner kind of thing. 18-inch rims, 275s in the rears, 225s in the front. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, why did you got so narrow in the front? But I don't know, I kind of like the look of it. Suspension, I just got Ebach lowering springs and Coney yellows in the rear, but also got the Hotchkiss anti-sway bars that were, I'm sure anybody who owns a GTO and try to put them in their car would realize that it is worst, probably the hardest thing I've ever done on my car. Literally, took me just by myself, took me like probably like 6 hours, a bunch of broken freaking knuckles and a lot of cuss words and a lot of beer. Oh yeah, brakes. Oh yeah, my brakes. I'm forgetting all the mods I put on my car. Brakes, I just did a little upgrade with the rotors because, I mean, the 2006 GTO stock rotors aren't bad, but I switched over to some power stop, drilled and slotted rotors, and now it stops. I'm dying, I love the car. A lot of people are gonna look at the car and be like, oh, it's not a GTO, da da da. I'm sure somebody's gonna comment. I'm waiting for that. Because, I mean, technically, it is an import. This car actually was made in Australia. In Australia, it's actually a Holden Monero, but they always came with the American V8 in it. Some other things I've done to it. Just mild weight reduction, which seems to be something people lose. I'm sure you remember the video, because weight reduction. First thing I removed was the buttons on my key fob. No, I'm just kidding. Those just wore out. But no, some things I did do was get a lighter skid plate under the car, made by BMR, and also got rid of the spare and the chocks that were in the back and all that stuff, and also got rid of the rear seats, which is probably the most drastic weight reduction I've ever done. But once doing that, I didn't leave it. I hated the gutted look, so I pretty much fabricated my own, basically rear seat like delete kit, because I saw they made one online, but $300 for a piece of plastic covered in carpet was a little bit too much for me, so I just made it myself. It took me probably like $40 from stuff from O'Reilly's. All right, the rubbers on the car. That sounds funny. Initially, I just had some cheap tires. I've always ran kind of cheaper, mid-tier tires, and I've always broke loose. Like every time, the ass would just kick out whenever from a dig or even from rolling 45, the ass just kicks out. And that was one of the problems I never addressed before. I always want to put more power in the car, but never actually addressed the issue, which is a lot of people forget about when they mod their cars, is the only part of your car that's hitting the ground is the rubber. It's probably the most important part. I splurged on some really good tires, which are the Proxies, Toyo Proxies. I think they're I can't remember if they're Proxies 4. They're not the Comp series, but they're the one right below that. I can't remember. I think the 4 Plus. And it just made the world of difference. I'm talking about from driving feel, from just actually how it felt turning, how it felt going through corners, and the ass hasn't kicked out since. And from a dig, this thing just pulls. I mean, I like burning out, but at the same time, I'd rather leave the line quick and have the car hook versus sit there, my car be super loud and just sit there spin at the start. It's kind of stupid. Future mods. First, because I haven't mentioned it yet, because I know people are gonna be like, oh, it is an automatic GTO. Here it comes. I'm sure it's coming. But what I do want to do in the future is actually get that switched out. Actually get a build transmission, maybe like a 6-speed. And if not a 6-speed, maybe I'll go to a 4L80 that's like completely valve driven. I'll just be able to get a B&M shifter and do it that way. At least imports and all that stuff, I mean, 6-speeds are fun. I'm definitely gonna probably do that. But the only reason I'm not gonna sit here and bag down on automatics, and not just because I'm trying to be a fanboy, but mainly just because, I mean, you go to drag races and all this stuff, and a lot of times autos, they're gonna dig all the way down the freaking quarter mile, and a lot of times win every time. But I am gonna admit though, 6-speeds are way funner, so that's definitely the thing I'm gonna do. And also, another thing that happened today, which kind of made this introduction happen, was I got a ticket. First ticket I've ever had in my life. I mean, I'm 20, almost turning 25 now, and I had a license since I was 15 and a half. I've been driving nothing but V8s all my life. And now I get a ticket. Not gonna say how fast I was going, I'm just gonna say it was an undisclosed speed, and he actually let me off pretty easily, because if not, your car probably wouldn't be here, and I probably wouldn't be here either if he actually got me for what I was doing. So yeah, I count myself lucky. So I guess anything, it's a big eye-opener. And anybody else who owns cars like this, I guess it's an eye-opener too. Pretty much all I got.